Hello, my lovely and dreamy Pisces. This is your horoscope for 2024. Welcome to 2024. Happy New Year to you. And let's start with Saturn, your horoscope, because Saturn, a whole year, will spend in your first house. It moved to your first house last year, March, in 2023. And since then, it was changing, giving you lessons in your first house. Saturn, it shows us where we get life lessons, and Saturn's lessons might not be always pleasant because Saturn is known as a strict teacher, but it will be worth it. Just believe me, it's always for good. You will, it might not be, you will be thinking, how bad is it, everything? But then you will look back and it was actually worth it. You will understand it at the end. Saturn usually takes all that we don't need, all that doesn't serve in our life anything good anymore. It will take us those things away from us so that there is energy, there is room for new and for the things that we actually should be doing. And the first house is a me house, is a house of my look, my appearance, who I am, what is my personality, my ideals, my name, my surname as well, the first house. In the Saturn, planet of discipline, taking responsibilities, planet of restrictions. It's a planet of work and the distance, and a little bit like a cold planet. It likes to give some pressures. And here, I feel like it will, it's an indicator that you will shed some of your behavioral patterns, like a snake will shed his skin. Like those patterns, those behaviors that don't serve you anymore. Those, let's say unpleasant yourself, or even those that are pleasant, but you don't need them anymore. And Saturn will make you to do that. Also will make you realize, that some things in yourself you don't need anymore to carry to the next chapter of your life. Also, you might start, because Saturn is the planet of responsibilities, taking responsibilities, you might start, taking responsibility for how you look, what you say, and be mindful, let's say, of what you say, and might have to even, to defend yourself and who you really are, your ideas, because Saturn is the planet of lessons. And here might be some situations coming up that you have to, you will have to stand up for yourself, let's say. You may start, because it's also like responsibilities planet, it may give you a lot of work, because Saturn is the planet of work, and work that involves quite a heavy responsibility, let's say, or projects, if you're like artist or some sort. Also here, you might start exhibit some sort of, let's say, coldness towards your outer world, distancing to yourself, which I don't advise you to do so. Saturn is likes to, let's say, alienate people sometimes, but you don't have to do that. Also here, by the time of Saturn's transit, end of transit, your first house, you will get mature and more responsible. Even though you are quite chaotic by nature, let's say, Pisces, but Saturn will give you that, let's say, responsibility, and it will make your stamina even more strong. Here, just a little advice, don't beat yourself out with self-doubt and looking for some weak sides that are not there actually, because Saturn might give also this thing, be harsh on yourself. Don't do that. Okay, let's move to Pluto. Pluto is the planet of transformation, is the planet of change, is the planet of, he's a subtle teacher, his game is a long-term game. His influence, will be more visible, and you might start noticing only after 10 plus years, because Saturn takes around the sun 250 years. It's quite long, and it's going to move into your 12th house for 20 years this year, my dear Pisces, on November 20th. So you realize that it's a very long transit, and Pluto's changes will be more felt after let's say 10 to 20 years. And Pluto also the planet of authoritarian people and structures, and Pluto likes to give some pressures. Also it's the planet of some governmental structures, and Pluto is it likes to stir up all the ugly things, shadow things first to the surface, so that you deal with it, and then you will become very, very true to yourself, beautiful, and complete, let's say, who knows herself. This kind of transformations Pluto brings, and Pluto will move for 20 years to your 12th house, and on 20th of September. In the 12th house, actually it will move this January already, around 20th January, but in September, for 2 months, it will go back to your 11th house where it spent last 15 years since 2008. That was transforming your 11th house, but it will be there for the last for just 2 months, so that maybe you will be finishing up there something, and will finally move in November to your 12th house, where and will not go back anymore in our lifetime to your 11th house. So 12th house, what is it about? 12th house is private house. Pluto here will teach you about your privacy, your alone time. You Pisces are already, let's say, how it is to be with your mind, with your thoughts and visions. Let's say you are quite good at it, but Pluto will give you more, let's say, deeper and subtle lessons. 12th house, let's say, about your privacy, what you would like maybe share or maybe not share at all. 12th house is the house of past, and here for the next 20 years you will be probably dealing with some let's say all sorts of things that are related to your past, like past family, where you come from, like family tree, or some past like issues, some situations. And also maybe you'll understand that we can learn a lot from the past, and our future is now the way that how we've been dealing in the past, what we've been doing in the past. This is now it all depends, it is related to each other. 12th house is a house of secrets. For the next 20 years you will be learning a lot of secrets, I guess, somehow, and those secrets will not be all the time bright and shiny, because Pluto loves to give some pressures, and probably you will have to keep some secrets for quite a long time, and those secrets may not be pleasant. Those secrets could be someone else's like dark sides about. 12th house is also house of isolation. Here I would advise, don't go deep too much. Don't isolate yourself. I know you love hanging by yourself much, but here do not do that too much, let's say, because Pluto can give that. 12th house is also a house of religious trips, retreats, and here maybe you will go for some kind of treats for 20 years, let's say. You decided like I will not do any more my work, I will not live that way I lived before, I will be just traveling, let's say, or living in Tibet, let's say, for 20 years. And it's a house of isolated places. Maybe you will decide to go to island, to live there somewhere, because it's isolated. It's also a house of hospital or prisons and retreats. You maybe you will have maybe this kind of aim goal that you will go to all sorts of retreats next 20 years, so that you will be healthy. Let's say you will learn some yoga or Pilates. Also, 12th house is the house of esoterics. Maybe next 20 years you will be totally involved into like this astrology, tarot, numerology, these kind of subjects, and you will become a professional in that, or psychology as well, psychiatrist is here as well. Let's see, as a comparison, you can, I'll give you a little description, what was Pluto doing in your previous house before moving to your 12th house, before that it will move to your 12th house in the 20th November. So for the last 15 years, since 2008, it was transiting your 11th house. So, it's 15 years influence. Probably here in this area of your life, 11th house is the house of, it's a global house. It's the house of big dreams, big communities. It's internet, it's online house, social media, and our friendship house. It's a house of future. And here, most probably for the last 15 years, it's transformed you profoundly. Let's say your wishes, your big dreams were, let's say, really global. Pluto is huge, and it might have given you those last 15 years like huge fan base. For example, last 15 years you are like, let's say, influencer, or you become an influencer now. You are very popular now because it's also online for followers, because Pluto makes everything big. It's a huge amount of people indicator, and the 11th house is the online social media house. It's a global house and friendship, and your online presence probably have been quite successful. You've got a lot of followers, huge fan base, let's say, or maybe you were a member of a big group, let's say, or fan club, but now you might decide that it's enough, and your view and choices or like likes will change, and you will draw out from those clubs and societies, because Pluto will leave your 11th house and will go to your private house, 12th house. So you might decide that it's enough, this social media presence, a lot of friendship circles. I will go to some retreats, to live to some island. You will have this kind of maybe desire. You will decide to live somewhere very far than you are now, let's say. It might be also, last 15 years, at times it was difficult maybe to dream big for you as Pisces, but But now, when Pluto moves out from your 11th house, your wings will straighten up and you will feel that your dreams can, materialize quickly. You can fly, literally. Or it can also be that you've been dreaming very big all the time. But, Pluto, as a planet of pressure, it was giving you as well, with those dreams and aims and goals, some sort of stress. Somehow, but that's not a dream anymore, right? So you have to drop that. And also, you probably, made very influential, big pocket authority friends, let's say authoritarian friends by nature or by profession, like let's say in police, in government, in tax authorities. All this is under Pluto. And coming to your friendship house, maybe your circle were that way, or like this influencers who has a lot of, let's say, power over masses of people. You've got, 1 or 2 friendships that way, that kind of people. Now that Pluto is coming to your 12th house, maybe you will decide that it's enough, let's say. Okay, let's move to our happiest planet of the universe, our big angel that gives us every year surprises, happiness, joy, fortune, and luck, and prosperity. Jupiter is your ruler, my dear Pisces. It's your ancient ruler. Now it's your ruler Neptune as well, but in ancient astrology, Jupiter was considered your ruler too. So where this joy and happiness is happening in your horoscope, let's see. Until 26th of May this year, Jupiter is transiting will continue transiting your 3rd house until 26th of May. So 3rd house is the house of communication, house of short distance travels, house of like everything that we write, speak, read. And maybe here Jupiter might have given you, because Jupiter in the 3rd house, it came to your 3rd house last May 2023 and still transiting until May this year, 26th of May. So you still have a chance. You might maybe you already found the easiest way of communicating, let's say communication, develop some sort of software or app that is now successful, or you will do so because you still have Jupiter in this area of life until June. Short distance travels, those quite short distances travels were expanding as well, because Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Whatever it touches makes bigger, so you've got probably a lot of short distance travels, or you will get. Also, 3rd house is the house of siblings, relatives, neighbors. Maybe your brother and sister got married since last May 2023, or will get married, or will announce to you this happy news. Or your relatives, something's happening in your families of your relatives, let's say, or neighbors. Jupiter tends to give very great neighbors in this placement. Also, because Jupiter rules your 10th house, house of career, house of social status, it might be that, yes, your siblings or relatives, they got like this social status, means like got married, they're not anymore single, or they got a kid, they will get married or will get a kid. Something will be changing here for like good reason. 3rd house is the house of skills. Last year, maybe you learned, acquired some skills, let's say driving, because 3rd house is the house of transportation. Maybe you learned how to drive a car or a truck or a train or a plane, how to fly it. Or also the skills are that that require special education, like makeup artists, nail artists, like masseurs and this kind of, or barbers, let's say. Maybe you will get this kind of certificate, this kind of skill, if you're learning now, or you did already. And also 3rd house is languages. Maybe you've been learning a language and it was easier for you now because Jupiter is transiting here. Jupiter is the planet of, joy. It makes it easier for you and expanding your abilities, let's say. And maybe you learn even 2 languages and you're learning, or you will. Also, 3rd house is the house of transportation. Maybe you bought a car, or you will buy a car, But if you sell it, it will be also very happy transaction. Let's see what is after 26th of May Jupiter will be doing. It will be moving to your 4th house. Wow, that is major. 4th house is the house of family. So maybe you, after 26th of May, starting from June 2024, you will build a family. Let's say you make a family with your sweetheart. Or 4th house is the house of the family that you come from, like it's your mother's life especially. Maybe your mom will announce that she will get married or she will have a kid, let's say. Or it's also about real estate. Maybe you will buy a house. You might buy a house after May 2024, or sell it with a very good price. Fourth house is also house of citizenship, immigration. If let's say Jupiter in third house, first half of the year 2024, it's also house of documents, all sorts of like a communication, and maybe if you've been, running errands and gathering all these documents for applying for some citizenship, for immigration, after May, in June, starting from June, it will shoot and you will immigrate, you will get that citizenship and you will be quite happy. Fourth house is a very major placement and it's nice to have Jupiter here. Same kind of topics were coming to your life during 12 years ago. With the same placement of Jupiter in your fourth house. It happened in 2012, from 2012 to 2013. Maybe you think about, recall a bit, remember what was happening in your life back then, at that time. Similar situations were coming up to your life, but not the same. Maybe at that time you also bought a house, but now when Jupiter is again here, you're going to sell this house, let's say, after 12 years. Or, you immigrated that time and you're going to go back now to your homeland, let's say, or to immigrate another country again. Some topics can come up around this too. And also, fourth house is house of family members' numbers. It might be growing, it might be like you will get a kid, for example, and your family number will grow. Or let's say your brother will get married, or your brother will have a kid or sister, and your family will grow. So numbers will change. Okay, let's move to eclipses. Eclipses happen this year 4 times. Will happen, and they are like elevators. They are like rocket ship. They help us. They help this universe to do the job. To bring us to our destiny, to our better future. Eclipses happen because of lunar nodes. Lunar nodes, they are 2, and they are always situated opposite to each other. And lunar nodes, they show, wherever in your chart lunar nodes are, they show in which area of life big and life-changing, fateful events will be happening. So, they're like elevators. They will lift you up, and they will push you because, we people are hesitant and we might be, going round and round, but eclipses come and they just sort of will make us, they makes us to do things and change our life for always better. Remember, for always better. Eclipses might not be sometimes pleasant, but they are always for good. Remember. So let's see where those lunar nodes are, because of which eclipses are happening and bringing life-changing events. Your north node is in the 2nd house. Your south node is in the 8th house. And these lunar nodes, they are also called this kind of arrow of destiny. So they show what we should be, towards what we should be moving to and what we should be releasing in this lifetime. So 2nd house and 8th house is your financial houses. This is financial access, and here your finances will undergo big changes, like earning money. Maybe you will be getting promotion. You might get a salary rise, double or twice even. That's why your money situation will change. Your investments, if you have such, might give good results as returns as well. Or you might start investing or learning if you've never done so. You might get interest somehow this year because of these eclipses. Or your spouse might get good job offer because this access financial, it's also all sorts of finances that are coming to you through other people as well. So here your spouse might get good job offer that doubles his or her salary, or you might get inheritance simply as that. Or again, your spouse might get inheritance. Also, you might completely change how you how you earn money, like using. For example, you've been using bank your whole life, but now you will move to use crypto transfers to receive your salary or money that you earn, or just by cash, let's say. Also, here lunar nodes indicate that your profession might change as well. That's why your financial situation will change too. You might get a scholarship. Maybe if you're applying for some kind of scholarship studies, to study somewhere, you might get that scholarship or some sort of funding for your projects, for your education that you need, let's say from the government or from the bank or any other institution financial, or from even relatives or parents. Your grandparents might decide that, they might, inherit their house to you, or they might just give you some funds, let's say, for your dreams, or anything related, just money coming to you through other people as well here. And also tax authorities, This axis is also tax authorities. Here I would advise you to take extra care to be tax compliant, let's say, because it might hit hard if there are some, let's say, shady, not clear things. Okay, let's see when those eclipses will be happening. I will give you the dates. Take the notes. First one will happen 25th of March, lunar eclipse in your 8th house. 8th house, here again, that's what I mentioned. It's inheritance, or it's about spouse money, let's say, funding, might get a rise or job, salary rise, or win a scholarship, your spouse, or it's all 8th house is also house of conception, you know. So you might know that you got pregnant, or you might undergo IVF. Or also, 8th house is also tax authority house. So again, here a bit careful. Second eclipse will happen on 8th of April, solar eclipse in your 2nd house. 2nd house is the house of money that you earn, and it's a house of job. Maybe you might get an offer during this time in April. Job offer. You might get a promotion, or you might get increase of salary, or you might buy something valuable like house or a car. Third eclipse will be happening 18th September. It's a lunar eclipse. It will be lunar eclipse in your 1st house. This one is very important for you, my dear, lovely Pisces. It will happen in your sign, in your 1st house, 25 degrees conjunct your ruler, Neptune. And I will tell you in a bit later who will be affected the most, which Pisces, a birthday, let's say. Let me tell you what is it about. 1st house is about appearance, how I look and my style, my behavior, here you might radically change your appearance, let's say. That will be shocking, but at the same time fabulous, because Neptune is the planet of dream, is the planet of fog. It will make you shiny, let's say. Or you might create something beautiful and famous in whichever area you are, dear Pisces. If you are a writer, or if you are a painter, or if you are an engineer, or if you are businessman, you might create something beautiful and very that will become famous. So Pisces that are born 15th of March plus or minus 5 days will be affected the most by this lunar eclipse. It will be very interesting for me, actually, if you could write in the comments below this video what will be happening during that time. I would appreciate it a lot. Okay, and the last eclipse, solar eclipse, will happen 2nd of October in your 8th house. Again, your financial house, so it's about inheritance, it's about investments. Maybe you will invest 25th of March, let's say, during that lunar eclipse, and during this one, 2nd of October, you will get some good returns from those investments, let's say. Or your spouse can get a promotion, might get, or a job, or a scholarship as well if you're applying to some, education, and it's also about taxes. Here, I would like to mention one interesting conjunction that will be happening February, already next month, February, March, and April, so most of spring, let's say. Your North Node, that is in your 2nd house, will conjunct Chiron. Chiron is a mythical creature. It is from Greek mythology. He was a half horse, half human, and astrologers call him as a wounded healer, teacher. So here, your North Node, which is like a rocket ship that puts us forward in our life, like elevator, is conjuncting Chiron, in your 2nd house. So here it might indicate that you might get help from someone financially, and not only once but twice. Why twice? Because Chiron is indicator of number 2 as well, because it's it consists from 2 parts that are inconsistent, like horse and half human, and that's why it indicates of number 2, completely different 2 things. But here, because it's happening, this conjunction is happening in your financial house, you might get some help from someone financially twice, or your financial situation might get some improve, or you will help someone financially here during this period. Okay, let's talk about Mars. Next, Mars is our planet of drive, our energy. It's our engine that moves us, it's our motivation to do things. And Mars will retrograde, unfortunately, this year, but only at the last month, of 2024. And it will start its retrograde from December 7th in your 6th house. So last month of 2024. When planets retrograde, it means they move backwards, but in reality, they don't move backwards. They just appear to be doing so, but its influence, it will be, let's say, slower, and it might affect us in a way that everything gets slower. Mars is like, because it's the planet of energy and motivation, here might be some drop of energy, drop of motivation during December 7th. And it's understandable because December is a festive season, and I think it's a very good time for Mars to retrograde because we all need rest that time and enjoy with our families and get ready for Christmas and New Year. To make, some, let's say, write down our results and to make new plans at that time. From December 7th, it will retrograde in your 6th house. 6th house, what is it about? 6th house is your work house, a project house. It's everyday routine house. It's a house of eating habits. So here you might be, here might be a lot of work or projects that you need to finish by the end of the year. Or it might be, some kind of those projects and work could be have like, some delays or deadlines can be changing. They could get postponed as well, or colleagues or your manager will be also very hesitant than usual in decision making. So, if you have something to start and like push all your intentions work-wise, job-wise before this date, before December 7th, because afterwards it will be harder to get that from your manager or colleagues, let's say, the things that you want. Because of, here is also like a drop of motivation, drop of energy for work even. 6th house is the house of health. Here you might feel less active as well. Give yourself time. Give yourself plenty of rest, I would suggest. And also take time to finish up all the things at work that you will have to do during that period. Okay, let's move to our lovely planet of communication and signing contracts, Mercury. Mercury retrogrades 3 times this year, and it's the planet of communication, planet of signing contracts. And when Mercury retrogrades, it's better not to start anything new business, new project. It's better not to sign any contracts because you will be redoing it. Some things will be missing at the end. Some clauses you will be adding up. Some things needs to be changed in the contract. Same with the plastic surgeries. It's not advisable to do plastic surgeries during Mercury retrograde because then you somehow will not be satisfied with the results, or something will, you might want to redo it. Or also buying like technical things and like expensive things or electronic appliances like phones during Mercury retrograde. It might get like broken, and so do not buy those things. To sell those things, it's fine, but not buying, because then you might regret that you might not like it, or somehow like you might change your opinion and it might get some problems. Okay, let's see the dates of Mercury retrograde. So take notes. First Mercury retrograde will happen from 1st April to 25th of April. So pretty much whole April in your 2nd house. 2nd house is again your financial house. Here, do not sign any contracts. Do not start any, let's say, new job, because do not accept any offers if possible. Of course, if you have to do that, then do that. But just keep in mind that some things needs to be changed afterwards if you do that. Because here it might indicate that salaries might be low, or might be revised. Some things to be should have been you will do it again. Here during this retrograde, what is good to do? Good to give back what you owe, for example, or you might get some money return. If someone owes you money, they might give back to you, or maybe you will be closing the loan also. This is an indication you might be closing a credit card. Here, very important, don't borrow money to anyone. I mean, if you borrow, then, you will see them coming very slow and delayed, with delayed deadlines. So be mindful. Second retrograde of Mercury will happen from August 5th until 28th of August in your 7th house. 7th house is the house of contractual agreements. Here is very important. Do not sign any important papers, contracts, because you will redo them. Something will be off there. And 7th house is our marriage house, our long-term relationships house. Our exes will be contacting. Ex-husbands, ex-wives, ex-lovers might contact you as well during this time. Usually it happens a lot. 7th house is the house of business partners. Maybe your old business partners might be contacting you during this time too. So it's pretty much whole August to watch off. And but it's good here if you would like to do business with your old business partner or some project, some companies. Then it's good to do another project, work again, with the old with those who you worked before already. And the last retrograde of 2024 will happen from November 26th until 15th of December in your 10th house. 10th house is the house of career, is the house of achievements. So here, if you are due to, some kind of prize or nomination, let's say, it might be delayed or it might be postponed. So here, a little bit patience might be required from you. Also, 10th house is the house of promotion, salary rise. It also might get a little bit, delayed or come to you at a later date. Okay, and the last, let's talk about our sweet Venus, planet of love, planet of beauty, planet of money. Let me tell you happy news. Venus will not retrograde this year. It will be all direct, in full force, shining and making us shine too, because we all love when Venus in our first house, because when Venus in our first house, we feel ourselves like a magnet. We feel ourselves sexy. We feel ourselves bold. And we feel that we can convince anyone to do anything. We feel shining, and everyone is attracted to us as well. So when that period is happening for you, my dear Pisces, Venus in your first house will be transiting from March 11 until April 5th. So use that time if you need to convince someone or attract someone. We feel self-confident as well that time. And we also love Venus in our 7th house, because 7th house rules marriages, contractual agreements, business partnerships, and Venus will transit your 7th house from August 5th until August 29. And during this whole August, actually is Mercury retrograding as well in your 7th house. So here, it's really not a good time for, sign the contractual agreements or get married or to start business partnerships. But Venus will be helping you to attract at that time right business partners, right love partners, let's say, in contracts, but just do not sign them at that time. If it's possible, just postpone it until September. When Venus in our 7th house, even for our competitors, because 7th house rules our competitors, enemies, open face, like those we know face to face, also they will be attracted to us and they will not want to harm us, let's say, and we will be shining for them. So this was your horoscope, my dear Pisces, for 2024. I wish you the best 2024, and believe me, universe will make it for you that way. Believe in yourselves, my dear and lovely Pisces. Bye.